till the beat drops. I won't stop, I'll never rest. Eminem's flow, I'll manifest. I'm at my very best. Spitting rhymes so intense, no room for second guess. I'll keep going till I collapse, put my skills to the test. When the pressure's on the rise, I never fold. Like Eminem, I grab the mic and take control. I spit fire at the stage, my story yet untold. I'll keep pushing till the end, my hunger can't be controlled. Going back down, I won't retreat, no surrender. Like Eminem, I go the distance, cause I'm a true contender. Battling demons in my mind, my inner tormentor. But through the pain and struggle, I'll rise as a mender. I'll keep fighting for my dreams, I'll never back away, eh? Just like Eminem, I'll make my mark, come what may. With every verse, every line, I'll leave a lasting display. Till I collapse, I'll keep spitting with no delay. Listen up where this is my testament. Inspired by Eminem, I'll give it my everything, no less. I'll keep grinding in the booth, pouring my heart on the desk. Till I collapse, I won't stop, I'll strive for nothing but success.
Hello everyone, and welcome to a new video from Machine Learning with Hamza. So in today's video, I'm going to present to you this web app that I've created using Gradio. It's the next version of the rap bot that we created in the last video, or that I presented to you in the last video. It leverages the power of the OpenAI ChatGPT API, as well as Tacotron 2 text-to-speech synthesis model. And you can use it to generate great and high-quality rap lyrics, as well as to synthesize vocals, but you're actually required to have an OpenAI API key to use the generating feature of this application. And that's because I compared multiple results from other models and the one from OpenAI, and I found that OpenAI ChatGPT API delivers the best quality with regards to generating rap lyrics. I've tried the Bard model, the Hugging Chat model, as well as other GPT models on Hugging Face, and it didn't really generate great quality lyrics or great quality rap lyrics. And since in the last video we fine-tuned GPT-2 and we've seen that the lyrics quality wasn't really that good, I've chosen to continue with the OpenAI API just for the sake of this presentation, but you can actually integrate other APIs or free APIs if you want, like the Hugging Chat API. So this application is built with Gradio, so even if you're not interested in this specific application, I mean generating rap lyrics and synthesizing vocals for it, you can still watch the video and learn maybe how to integrate APIs within a Gradio application, as well as how to build a user interface with it. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Okay, so here we have the project files, and first I'm going to start with how to run this app and how to use it. And then I'm going to go through all the details about how to install it and what are the requirements to run it locally. After that, we're going to go through the code, and I will present each part of the code and what it does quickly, so you can then check all the files on your own. And of course, you can find these project files on my GitHub, link in the description as usual. So let's start by running this app. So first we're going to start by opening a command line in this directory. Let me grab it over here. So we're gonna activate our conda environment, and then we're gonna run the application report.py report2 with a debugging flag to show the error or to display them, so we can check if everything works fine. It will usually take few seconds, but if you run it for the first time, it will take longer. Okay, so here we have the web application. You have here some instruction on how to use each part, but we're going to go through them here so you don't have to worry about that. So first of all, we have two tabs here. We have the generate lyrics and the generate voice tab. For the generate lyrics, as I said, this part requires an OpenAI key. I already have one, so I'm gonna show you how to do that. But you're gonna need to use your own API key in order for this part to work for you. Or you can, of course, implement another API, as I said, another free API, like the Hugging Chat API. So first of all, we have some parameters that we need to set before we start talking to the ChatGPT clone here. So here you can set the creativity or the temperature parameter, which will indicate how much randomness should the model output. So it's by default set to 1, but for more creativity you can augment it maybe to 1.5. But let's keep it on 1 for the moment. Here you can choose the style of the rap lyrics that you want to generate. This would tell the GPT 3.5 API which kind of rap lyrics should output or maybe lean towards. So here let's choose maybe old school. Then we need to click on set parameters. Then let's skip this draft text box for now. And let's start talking to the rap bot. I'm gonna ask it to generate some rap lyrics in a certain style, and let's see what it can do. So, okay, so it said, as an AI language model, I don't possess any personal skill or aptitude. However, can I help you generate whatever you want? Just give me a topic and I will give you some bars. Let's say since you didn't mention any topic, I came up with a verse inspired by Eminem style. I'm the man with the venomous tongue, leaving haters and competitors tongue. My rhyme hits hard like loaded gun, leaving everyone stunned and undone. Okay, but I've already mentioned the topic. So here it generated some bars as it said, but I've already mentioned the topic, so I'm gonna say motivation. What's the key? Gotta keep pushing, gotta believe. Can't let the negativity deceive. Gotta keep grinding, gotta achieve. Life can be tough. Okay, I like that one. So let's copy it. Let's copy all this and paste it over here. This part is actually pre-processing part that we will do manually before passing the lyrics to the generate voice model. And what we're gonna do here is that we're gonna verify that each line is terminated with a dot, like here. So we say motivation was the key, gotta keep pushing, gotta believe. And then we start new one with a point, goals in sight. Life can be tough, but I won't back down. Let's finish this one over here. Got my goals in sight, won't let them down. Let's finish this one over here. Feels like I'm going down, but I stay afloat and over the crown. Okay. Let's remove this empty line. I ain't perfect, but I strive for perfection. I make my own destiny with every direction. Let's finish this one here. Grit and determination, the foundation of my affection. Motivation is fuel that keeps my engine in motion. So let's copy these lyrics. Actually, we could have talked more to the chatbot and asked it to format the output in lines or in separate lines for each bar, and you can try that maybe on your own when you try this web app. Let's move to the generate voice. Here we passed the lyrics that we've copied. Okay, so as usual, we need to set the parameters first. We need to initialize the model and then generate the audio. And this part is if you want to update other models to use or change them. So for the Tacotron 2 model ID, Either you enter the model name, which should be in the directory, or you enter a Google Drive ID, and I will show you after this how to get a Google Drive ID of a certain file. For now, let's use the M&M clone model, which you can download, of course, from the link in the description. For the hi-fi GAN model, we leave it as it is, universal model. So we have here show graphs, and if you want to remove the graphs, no images will be shown here. And then we have the max duration of the generated audio file. We leave it at 20 seconds. We have the stop threshold, which is used by the Tacotron 2 model, and the super resolution strength. This parameter controls how much artificial should the sound be, and you can lower it if you find the generated audio too artificial. And then we click on set parameters. After that, we initialize the Tacotron 2 model. This step actually takes here only a few seconds, maybe 15 seconds. However, if you run it for the first time, it maybe take around a little bit less than an hour, let's say, depending on your internet connection, because it will clone the GitHub repositories that are required to run Tacotron 2. Okay, so it took around 1 minute, and the initialization completed successfully. If any other message appears here, it's actually an error within the initialization part. So you need to make sure that all the dependencies and requirements that we're going to go through later are installed and are available on your machine. Here we have the lyrics, and we will simply click on generate audio. Okay, and here we have the audio file, and these are the image results. Okay, so let's hear it first.
Motivation, what's the key? Gotta keep pushing, gotta believe in it's a negativity to see. Gotta keep grinding, gotta achieve. Life can be tough, but I went back down. Got my goals inside, when it didn't roll. Sometimes it feels like I'm gonna grow, but I stay afloat and wear the crown. I'm perfect, but I strive for perfection. I make my own destiny with every direction. Grit and determination, the foundation of my affection. Motivation is the fuel that keeps my engine in motion.
Okay, actually that's great. Given that the model was only, I fine-tuned it on around 150 clips of 7 seconds by M&M. So it actually captured the accent and the rhyme and the schemes that M&M uses when he raps, and as you can see here, it started very well, but at the end maybe it got a little bit artificial, a little bit more artificial at the end. Yeah, I'm actually satisfied with this result. Okay, so after that, if you want, you can download this file and use it elsewhere. This part, as I said, if you have another, let's say, model and you want to use it instead of this one, but you don't want to change any parameter here, you can use this part to update the model. But then don't forget to reinitialize the new model that you used here. And that's it. Okay. This part is actually telling you the status of the app. It's actually running now. And if any error occurs, it should be displayed over here or with a box that pops up over here. Of course, that's if you use the debug and the show error flags in the Python command in the CMD when running the app. And we're gonna get back to that. So here are some information about common error messages and how to deal with those problems. And of course, if you encounter any other issue, you can leave it on the comment section here or in the issue section on GitHub. Okay, so this is regarding the RapBot Gradio user interface. Let's get to the installation part. So first of all, let's go to the GitHub repository. So this is the GitHub repository. You can find here all the information you need to install and to run this application. So you need an NVIDIA GPU with the CUDA version compatible with it, and you're required to create a virtual environment with Python 3.7, and of course a Tacotron 2 model, as we've used in the example earlier. We've used M&M clone model, which you can download from this link over here, but I will show you how to use a notebook on Google Colab to train your own custom model, either on your voice, or you can clone actually any voice you want. Of course, these are the prerequisite, but you need to clone this repository, create a virtual environment using Python version that we've mentioned, and then run the following command, which is used to install all the requirements on the environment. So let's see what are the requirements. Let me grab it over here. So we need the Torch 1.13 version, as well as the Torch version, Torch audio, Torch text, and Torch data. This part, the CU 11.7, is the CUDA that is compatible with my GPU, and you need to look on the internet which CUDA version is compatible with your GPU. After that, you need this library, which is used to download big files from Google Drive. You only need this one if you're gonna use Tacotron 2 model, which is hosted on Google Drive, and it will download it automatically. If you have, or if you're willing to only use models that are available on your machine, you can delete this line. And these are of course the other libraries that we're gonna need. So by running pip install, you're gonna install all those ones. If any problem occurs, you need to recheck which library caused the problem and see how to solve that, or ask me if you want. Then you need to create a credential file, even if you're not gonna use the OpenAI API key, or if you don't have one, just create a credential.py file with the fake API key, just to be able to run this app. And then you can't of course use the first part, but then you can use the generate voice part. You can still, okay. Copy Tacotron 2 model. Tacotron 2 models that you train or you fine tune should be in the FAQ directory. So here, when you clone, you have this directory, which has all the file needed to run the Tacotron 2 model and to synthesize audio. So you have the M&M clone over here that we used, and if you download it, you need to put it over here. And of course, any other model that you train should be in this directory. After that, you have everything set up. You can run the application either from the Jupyter Notebook Rapbot 2 or from this Python script as we did earlier. So you just run the Python command, and we have 3 optional flags that you can use. Of course, in the how to use, here you have the link to this YouTube video, and these are some credits. Okay. So these are the main files. You can clone it using this URL. Let's get back to this directory. Okay, so let's now open, where is it, the notebook. Let's take a look. All right. So here we have the notebook for the Rapbot. It's gonna import some libraries, of course, and then you can here check either Torch is using a GPU or is detecting a GPU with CUDA or not. And you need that to run the Tacotron 2 model. Here it's gonna check for the project structure, but if you clone this repository you already have it verified. And then here we're gonna set the OpenAI API key. If you're interested on the model that we've used the GPT 3.5 API, and this is the response of the post request. Here we have the message, which is contained in the choices field, and it tells you how many tokens you've used and which model that you've requested, etc. So here we have additional information on how to create the payload for this model GPT 3.5. And then we have here the functions that are used for the wrapbot or the ChatGPT clone for wrapping. So here we have the OpenAPI request, which is a function that is used to request and get the response from the OpenAI API. Here we create the payload using the model name, the history of messages, the temperature, which is the creativity parameter, and then we have the header with the API key, and then we get the response. Over here we return it. This function creates the object that is handled by the chatbot component of Gradio. It requires you to create the history as a list of tuples. With each tuple contains your message and the chatbot response. And then here we have the ChatGPT clone, which will use this function, and it also will create the history variable, which will store all the messages between you and the chatbot. And it will return the chatbot history and the history state. And then here we build the actual Gradio application using the blocks components. So first of all we have some markdown information, and then here we have the function that will get the chatbot parameters. So for the first tab here, the generate lyrics, we're gonna get the parameters from these components with this function get params that is defined over here. And then we're gonna create the ChatGPT clone, which will have the input message and the state and the parameters. The state actually is a hidden Gradio component which will track the history of the chatbot. So this is the first part, which is created using only these two functions. The second part for the generate voice. As well, here we create a state for the parameters. We have the text box and etc. the parameters components, and then we have the function get tt2 parameters, which is for Tacotron 2, and you can find that function over here in this file, tt2 faq.py. So this function will get the parameters and it will check if the Tacotron provided model exists or not. After that, when you click on initialize Tacotron 2, it will run this function. So as I said, in this function, it will actually clone this repository and this one. So it may take a few minutes, or depending on the internet connection. It will retrieve as well the merge dictionary, and it will initialize actually the Tacotron 2 model with the different parameters. Okay, so after initializing, we get to the end-to-end inference, which will generate the audio file, and that is done using this function, end-to-end inference. This part is actually very fast. and it will run the text through the Tacotron 2 model, and it will return a WAV file with the sample rate, which you can download from the user interface. And of course you can run this notebook to open the application. Let's run it quickly. And here you have it. And of course, if you're gonna change the OpenAI API to another API, you can make the required changement in this part, and you can test it over here, or you can access it through this link on the browser. After that, you can close the port and stop the Jupyter notebook. These are some of the lyrics that I've tested with, and it actually produced great results. So this is the notebook that you can use. The credential files, as I said, you need to put the API key over here, even if you're not going to use OpenAI, or you need to make the necessary changes so that it won't check for the API key. So for example, here you need to remove the import credentials, this part, so it won't raise an exception. And in this part, just comment it. And in this function, just create anything, type anything here. It won't check for the API key, but of course you can't then chat with the rap bot. Okay, so let's move on to the next file, which is this one. We've talked about some of the functions. We have the get parameters, update the models. Here we initialize, as I said, the model, and here we infer. So this get Tacotron 2 function is run in the initialization function, and it will check for the pre-trained model using the model ID you provided, or it will download it from Google Drive. So for example, let me show you how to get the Google Drive ID. So here, let's say you click on this link. So what you have here in the URL is file D. After the D, you have this part. This is the Google Drive ID for this file. You can upload this file on your Google Drive, make it shareable, so anyone with the link could access it, and then copy this part of the URL and insert it as the model ID in the user interface, and then this part of the code will automatically download it. If the ID is incorrect, it will output this error. Okay, so that's with the Tacotron 2. This is also where the universal hi-fi GAN model is downloaded. And you can also here insert a Google Drive ID. If you don't insert one, just keep it at universal, so it will download this default model for hi-fi GAN. And that's it for the Tacotron module. Okay, so let's get back to the project files. As I said, you can train your own Tacotron 2 model on Colab, and to do that you have here in the extra file 2 notebooks. The first one is for training. It is made by Justin Jones, which can run on FAQ or UberDuck. Actually, FAQ and UberDuck, as you can see here, this is FAQ, which is a platform that you can run TTS on it, or voice conversion or video. So you can train your model on Colab and then upload it to FAQ if you want to use it over there, but actually that's not the point here. You just need to open this notebook, go through it. There are many tutorials on YouTube on how to run this notebook and how to prepare the data. I'm not gonna go through it here because it will make this video very long and it's not in the scope of this tutorial. So that first notebook is for training, and then after you train you can also run this notebook on Colab to generate or synthesize vocals on Colab to test the performance of the trained model. Okay, these are the two extra notebooks. What do we also have here? We have the RapBot 2 All Models. In this notebook I actually tested multiple TTS models, and I found that Tacotron 2 provided the best results, and that's why I've presented it in the web app. So I've tested, let me show you. I've tested this TTS model, which is Bark with voice clone. Actually, Bark is by Suno AI, this one, and it doesn't support voice cloning, but I found this repository which made it support voice cloning. The results were actually very bad. The other model that I've tested is Tortoise. So this model actually supports the zero chat voice cloning, and you can see here you can add voices by only putting 3 clips in the voice directory, and it will generate voice. It generated better quality than the Bark with voice clone model, but it wasn't actually like Eminem's voice or any other voice that I've tried, so that's why I haven't used it. The Tacotron 2 model, which is by NVIDIA, and these are the models that I've tried in this notebook. And that's it guys for this video. I hope that you find it interesting, and I hope of course that you've learned something new. And stay tuned for future videos about machine learning, deep learning, and funny application like this one. And until next time, stay safe.